Welcome, everyone. Good night. Tonight, we are here for 420 Spiritual Living. And I'm just your host, Joan of Angels, and so happy to see all of you. And welcome to all of you for being here with us tonight. And it is 420, 720, 1020, wherever you may be. So come on in. This show is all about today self-care, how to take care of yourself, how to incorporate cannabis into your daily lifestyle. And in a few minutes, I'm going to bring on my very special friend. But first, I want to tell you and take us a little bit into feeling why we're here and the energy of that. So as I'm welcoming all of you to drop in with us, to take a deep breath in, to center, because in essence, that is what 420 is all about. 420 is that moment of taking that deep breath, of breathing, of whether you're with friends, you could chill. If you're by yourself, you can meditate and just have a moment of peace. So we'll start right now and go from there. So taking a deep breath in, everyone, and letting it all out. Good. And again, taking a deep breath in and letting it all out. Mother, Father, God, we are so grateful to be here with our friends, with our tribe, with those who are asking to step into the consciousness of cannabis, the consciousness of the spirit guides, the consciousness of awareness, of growth of unlimited possibilities. We ask that our guides and our angels, our departed loved ones be with us, the spirit of the cannabis plants be with us, and our spiritual team as we really just step into letting go of anything that doesn't serve us, anything this life, past life, future lives, and we just really get to be here in the here and now. And with that in mind, I want to introduce myself. If you are new to the show, I'm Joan of Angels, also Dr. Joan Hangarter, chiropractor. And you can find me at Joan of Angels. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, and share with your people so we can kind of spread these messages around the world, messages of consciousness and of growth. So there you have it. And so we're going to be talking today about self-care. And that is so in alignment with my work as a chiropractor, because as a chiropractor, my job was to have people, teach people, and to treat them in a way that got their body, their immune system, all those systems in your body to work well together. And that was the whole point of wellness care, is how do you turn on your body's own natural healing? And that is why I'm always constantly talking about the miracles of cannabis, because cannabis turns on your own body's natural healing. And with that in mind, I asked my dear friend, Michelle Rizzio, I'm so excited she's here. Okay, she is an established cannabis professional in the world's cannabis industry, the largest cannabis industry in the world, which is right here in California. She dived into the medicinal value of cannabis well over a decade ago. And with training in Northern California, Michelle learned about the relationship between plants and the human body for healing, for sustenance, and for life, okay? And this led her to the real-life practice of applying cannabis to replace the opiate prescriptions her wheelchair-bound father had been taking for nearly 2 decades. After assisting her dad to overcome his healthcare challenges, he was actually able to retire the wheelchair, which I think is in his front yard as a crutch, but I had thought maybe they'd gotten rid of it. But to retire your wheelchair, by the way, and to stand on your own 2 feet is not any small accomplishment. Together after that, they owned and operated cultivation hydroponic shop for 3 years in her hometown, which is my hometown. And in 2018, she entered California's new Prop 64 recreational market and built the footprint of Henry's Original in the Coachella Valley and in Inland Empire. Literally, she became a star in the field. She is now an account manager for HERBL Solutions, which is the largest cannabis distribution company worldwide. So her portfolio includes more than 25 top brands across the cannabis category. So I am so happy to introduce you all to my dear friend, and she is one of my besties. All right, guys, this is Michelle Rizzio, goddess and cannabis expert. And I'm just so happy you're here.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I brought some cans. These are one of my favorite ways to actually consume cannabis because these days I don't quite smoke as much as I used to because I'm always behind the wheel. But these are cans. They're infused with cannabis, and it's my favorite flavor, the blood orange cardamom. And it has 4 milligrams of CBD and 2 milligrams of THC. So shall we?
Shall we? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. This is great. And I just want everyone to understand cardamom is an herb that's for healing, right?
It is. So you pop this part first.
Oh God, all these my biggest nightmare is having to do this. Oh, look, she says, hi, Michelle. Take a peek at the screen.
Hi. There you go. A little tricky, but I managed to do it with my claws on.
Oh my God. Okay. This is not for the fearless, guys. And I do understand that cannabis is now created. Oh, okay. So just so you know, she saved me from embarrassing myself.
Cheers.
All right, host Michelle, thank you so much for being here. And
of course. Isn't that good?
Oh, God. And being a part of our Cannabis 420 spiritual living, incorporating cannabis lifestyle. So tell us, your introduction actually said a lot about you.
Yeah, sure did.
But how did your relationship with cannabis actually first start?
So I guess my very first time smoking cannabis was when I was 16 years old. I was invited to one of my dear friends' birthday parties, and there was what they call like Reggie weed being rolled up with
what
stems.
Is Reggie?
And Reggie is like regular weed. It's nothing special. It's got stems. It's brown. It has seeds in it, and we smoked a really awfully rolled joint, and I immediately had a head change and unfortunately had a horrible panic attack. And when my mom picked me and my friends up, I was immediately caught and then grounded for 2.5 weeks, and I missed Halloween because of it, which was completely horrible. But then I ended up meeting a guy. I was going to do his dreads, and he had the most beautiful purple nugs. I was going to maintain his dreads for him. And he smoked me out that stuff, and suddenly my back didn't hurt. And so I was recently diagnosed when I was like 16 years old with degenerative disc disease. And they had me on somas, and they had me on, I don't know, whatever they give you, like for muscle relaxing. Mm-hmm. Very difficult to stay awake in high school. And so when I smoked that beautiful purple nug, I suddenly felt nothing for like a month. And I was like, wait, why am I not in pain for a month? So from there, every month I ended up smoking a little bit of cannabis, and it would maintain my pain tolerance. And then I moved to San Francisco, and up there at the time, it was the 215 market, the traditional market as they call it. And
okay, can you stop? 215 market, is that the medical marijuana
market? Yep, that was the medical marijuana market.
Okay.
Yep, that was when it came in 1996 to 2018 was when that was established in California. And so, I ended up being able to have the opportunity to sit in on a lot of really great lectures, a lot of really great symposiums, both hosted by my school as well as hosted by the various different cannabis spaces in San Francisco. And then I met a really awesome deadhead woman, and she just kind of taught me the way. And so then I became a daily cannabis smoker.
Okay. Got it. So you started off recreation. Let me see if I get this. You really started
It was definitely medical.
Oh, so you would say,
pain.
So you would actually not go out to smoke weed, except that like really using it for your back.
Until I was like in my early 20s, then it started becoming like, I can actually use this to like, stimulate creativity and like help me like get my homework done and, help me enjoy my nature walks a little better depending on what strain I'm smoking. So then I was like, wow, it's not just like you smoke one joint and all of them take care of everything. There's differences to this plant.
Okay, so this is good. So this is kind of what led you into. And guys, can you share this out with your friends? Like, subscribe, and share. Michelle is a treasure. And so send it out to all your wannabe smokers, your parents even, right? Because she saved her dad's life. And we're going to talk about that literally too. So please share us out with everyone. All right. So you started, it's so rare you find a young person at 16. Well, that's not true. I was going to say it's so rare that you find a young person starting it on the medical aspect of it.
Yeah, a lot of people were smoking for fun, for sure.
Yeah, but right now, since it's become legalized, actually, more and more young people are using cannabis for seizures and pain and other serious conditions.
Yeah,
actually.
the microdose is very popular right now.
Well, tell us about microdosing then with cannabis.
So microdosing is something that I was introduced to probably right before I became pregnant with my son in 2013. And prior to that, I was like a huge macro doser. Like me and my homegirl would smoke every day, multiple joints a day, like just the most ridiculous size joints you could get from the dispensary. Like I was eating like the 1,000 milligram edibles. It was stupid, but
okay, it was stupid.
It was a macro dose. It was a macro dose that I was taking, and I was very, very, very high when I lived in San Francisco constantly, which was great. It was exciting and fun. But then, obviously, like things started changing in my life. I was entering my junior year of college. I was going to University of San Francisco at the time. The coursework started getting more rigorous. I was getting into those 400 level classes, like getting closer to getting my degree. And I had to start understanding microdosing and not smoking a whole ounce in 3 days, but actually like making, an eighth like last a day, and then working even lower to getting myself to just smoking like at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And then after having my son, I really understood the power of the microdose and taking tolerance breaks and being able to really incorporate cannabis in smaller portions and still being able to get the same results that I needed initially for my body and for my my mindset.
This is really actually important. Okay, so you learned how to take a large recreational dose that was kind of causing, it was interfere. I can imagine it would interfere with motherhood for sure, and a few other things. So you managed to learn how to microdose that. I did hear you say you smoked an eighth a day.
I was smoking an ounce in 3 days.
Okay.
An eighth in a day.
All right, so you guys know that this woman has really shifted and learned a lot about how you take it, because this is so common for people to start off. Some people do
with
start
the
off
macrodoses.
with the macrodoses. So tell us, let's jump around a little bit.
Sure.
I want to go to your dad. So you leave San Francisco. You have a little boy yet?
So I was in my junior year was when I started microdosing. And it was when I also started getting really involved in like gardening and getting really involved in herbalism and kind of just understanding that there was more than just, over-the-counter medicines and prescriptions, And my dad would listen to me talk about all these new discoveries about biodynamic farming and herbs and application of different plants to the body. And he has a condition called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which my entire upbringing kept him in a wheelchair with a morphine pump that had to be filled up every single month by going to LA and going through all of that. Lots of doctor's appointments.
A morphine pump. Okay.
Yeah, morphine pump, and also tons of like oral medications. And he was also on a fentanyl patch as well. Thanks so much for that feedback, Lou.
Right. We'll tell you even more.
I'll tell you tons for sure. And so, I really wanted to see my dad's life change, especially as he was showing me that he was open to learning. And one day before I had come back, he went outside and smoked a joint with my sister and my brother-in-law, my now brother-in-law. And he slept for 10 hours after he smoked that joint. And it wasn't even the full joint. He just had like a couple drags off the joint, and then called me the next day and was like, Michelle, like, I cannot believe this. Tell me everything that you know. And it went from, you shouldn't have a medical card, like you should stick to your soma medications, like be careful what you're getting involved in up there in San Francisco, to tell me more. And I was like, okay. So I ended up telling him a lot more, and he ended up getting some connects down here and started with the salves and the tinctures. And then in 2014, I moved back from San Francisco to Desert Hot Springs, and I really started going hard with my dad. That was when I was living with them, and my son had just come into our lives, and my dad was really curious about it all. And I started educating him on how to smoke and how to use cannabis for his symptoms, and how to discern terpenes and the strains, and what was what. And then also we started growing flower as well. And so he was able to have his own supply of flower and the leaves to juice, which then created cold pressed THCA juice, which was really helpful for his inflammation and for his pain. And so with him.
Okay, stop. I want you to go slow for a second.
Yeah.
So you got that, guys. This is juicing with raw cannabis.
Yeah.
Also for pain.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Absolutely. And so then he ended up getting out of the wheelchair within 3 years of his first experience of smoking weed in the backyard with my sister and my brother-in-law. And from that point on, it just kind of kept going. He every 5 years had to get his morphine pump replaced to the newest version. And this time he went and got it done in 2015. And unfortunately it rejected, and he had to make a major decision on if he was going to persist with the excruciating pain that was happening from his morphine pump rejecting and the solution not being sprayed onto his spine because it was puddling. All the medicine was puddling at his spine. And so he was having a lot of issues with the internal morphine pump or take it out, and so he was convinced he was going to die in that summer. He was convinced. He was very writing the will, making sure my sister and I were set up with what we needed, everything. And then he got it removed, and I started getting him on dabbable concentrates, specifically like Raw Garden and some other really great ones that were in the market at the time. And it was Clean Green certified, which I really valued and I thought was super important. And also was able to get stuff for him from the traditional market as well, from friends who were able to blow their own wax and blow their own butters and stuff like that.
Like, I really know exactly what she means by blow.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a whole process of turning the weed into the concentrate.
Okay,
and
good.
So then he ended up getting through the summer of that morphine pump rejecting and ultimately coming out of his body. And I'm happy to report that here we are in 2021. And last spring in April 2020, he finally weaned himself off the fentanyl patch. So it was the wheelchair, the morphine pump, the over-the-counter medications, and then finally the fentanyl patch in 2020. So it was about a 5-6 year process to fully get to where he is now, where he's hiking and he's going out in his Jeep. And my son has no idea what having his grandpa in a wheelchair looks like.
Wow, you grew up for 20. You said your dad was in a wheelchair for 20 years.
Yeah, my whole upbringing for 18 years, just about, he was in the wheelchair. So it really transformed everything. It definitely embraced my new path that I was on, supported that, as well as encouraged my mother and my cousins and, my sister to really look at it a little bit more, I guess, without the taboo, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
So interesting. Okay, so, a few things come up for me. First of all, you got your parent, and I know a lot of younger people want to know how they can get their dad or mom to take cannabis and to get them off, for their pain. So there's that issue. And then I'm hearing that you're saying it took 5 years.
Yeah, it's a process.
This is so important because I have a girlfriend whose back went out and she, tried cannabis and it didn't. And she's supposedly, a cannabis expert, and she couldn't get it to relieve.
I see.
Opiates are pretty strong. So how do you actually manage to wean someone from that?
Sure. Well, so that's a really great question. First is you need them to be on board, right? Like my dad tried the joint before I told him to smoke the joint.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like
he
you have
was
to leave it laying around.
Yeah, totally. So that was that part. And then also he was accepting that my sister and I were, engaging in cannabis use. And then it's about really understanding the endocannabinoid system. My favorite thing ever about cannabis. So the endocannabinoid system is a system that lives in, I believe it is the adrenals. Gosh, I might be wrong, but it lives inside of your body. And what it does is it actually allows you to take in ectocannabinoids, which would be cannabis or cannabinoids found in other plants. There are cannabinoids found in, like, for instance, hibiscus and I can see the flower in my mind right now, but I can't remember it. But there are cannabinoids found in other plants other than just, oh gosh, congratulations, Crystal. That's great. Huge deal. And so the endocannabinoid system allows us to take these ectocannabinoids and turn them into regulators for our CB1 and CB2 receptors. And so the THC helps to open them up, and then the rest of the cannabinoids can kind of go inside of there. That's why, like, CBD on the legal market, like nationally, isn't really as impactful because it comes from hemp-based products, and hemp-based products are void of THC because THC is bad, so you end up peeing out the CBD from hemp. So with cannabis in the legal markets, CBD or THC, whatever, THC is in everything. Literally, you can't sell anything in a dispensary, at least in the state of California, if it does not have like THC trace amounts inside of it. So what that does is it opens up the CB1 and CB2 receptors, kind of like cuticles that kind of open like blinds, to be able to receive all those cannabinoids and anthocyanins and terpenoids to be able to really help regulate the body. I have a lot of resources that I can share with Joan so she can share with all of you guys so you can learn a little bit more about this super complex system that honestly I think is starting to get a little bit more buzzworthiness these days than it has in the past. And so it takes a long time for your endocannabinoid system to become regulated, partially because unfortunately at this time as Americans, there is literally no cannabinoids coming in through our diet anymore. Once prohibition happened over 100 years ago, they stopped feeding our livestock hemp. And so we stopped receiving cannabinoids, ectocannabinoids from the world. And that deregulated our endocannabinoid systems.
Okay, so that explains. So let me see if I can break down. We all have endocannabinoid systems.
All of us, even animals do.
But in the past, we had hemp in everything. When it was legal, right? We had hemp rope, hemp fabric, hemp pillows,
hemp tinctures, sativa tinctures even.
So they were balancing so our bodies got used to them.
Yeah.
Used to this. And then so once prohibition happened, then the idea that people could be stressed or out of balance because they don't have a cannabinoid in their system is really revolutionary, but probably true. Right?
Yeah. Definitely. And so being able to put ectocannabinoids into the body is really important over time to regulate the system and help with pain, help with autoimmune issues, help with really anything that you're imbalanced from. I don't want to make any like huge, great, insane scientific claims here, but this is just my anecdotal experience and what I've experienced, not just with my father, but myself and many friends, and as well as thousands of people in the cannabis market in California over the last 3 years that I've been able to engage with, interact with, educate, and ultimately sell to.
So tell us a little bit, and I have been watching Michelle, guys, since I moved here in 2015. She wasn't working full-time in the industry then, but she did have her hydroponics shop.
And my radio station.
And her radio station. And I learned about how she had gotten her dad off of out of the wheelchair, but I didn't hear all the details. And I'm really very fascinated. But I'm also fascinated in watching how you've expanded there's two issues, how you've expanded in the cannabis business. And then how do we use this concept? You're the first person who's ever told me about terpenes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I know that when we talk about self-care, it's like, how do I find the right product for me?
Yeah.
Like
with this thing,
right?
This
There's
thing
so many
right
products.
Here. It's called your nose, and it's really great at telling your body if the cannabis that you're about to consume or purchase is good for you and good for what your body needs. How does it do that? Well, it does that with terpenes. So terpenes are actually horticulturally meant to be a defense mechanism against like pests, sun, wind, for the cannabis plant. But therapeutically, each terpene can really help the body in various different ways, whereas it could be for mood, or it could be for ailments, or it could be for energy, or it could be for, appetite. All of these things are stimulated by the terpenes. So terpenes are formed when you look at, I wish we had some weed. Do you have weed?
Somewhere.
So I brought cans today. But so when you look at like a nug of weed, it's really frosty, right? And that frost is coming from trichomes. So trichomes, like I said, are developed to be able to be a defense mechanism. And inside of those trichomes, when they get like a nice, pretty, like ambery color, they are well developed and they are going to have terpenes inside of them. Not just terpenes, but they also have anthocyanins in there, and fats and lipids and all kinds of different things that add to the overall impact of cannabis on your body. So terpenes encourage what is called the entourage effect. And the entourage effect is what you get when you are consuming not just cannabis, but also terpenes as well. And I guess I should go back and rephrase that. Not just THC, I suppose, would be the better way to put it. You're not just consuming THC, you're also consuming based on terpenes. So right now in the cannabis market, and I think nationwide, there is like a huge rush to the top with THC percentage. It is ludicrous to me.
Oh.
It's ludicrous to all my colleagues. It's ludicrous to all my old school like heads that I've smoked with. It's just seriously ludicrous in my opinion, because THC is not the most impactful cannabinoid in cannabis. I don't care. Come for me. Come for me.
Wait a
It is
second.
not.
Okay, so it's not.
It's
you
not
know,
THC.
you see those the things. It has 23%. Or I had a boyfriend.
34%.
Right, and he said he'd only get the high. His thing is, I'll go in the dispensary and ask for the highest percentage THC. Give it to me.
We hear it every day, and as a saleswoman, I see it every single day. Like the 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 fly by the pounds. The 11%, the 12%, the 13% sits forever. And I don't know. I have a lot of suspicions as to why the market is like that right now, but I digress. Either way, you should not be shopping for cannabis for THC percentage. You are robbing yourself of experiencing the true power of cannabis by doing so, and you are saturating your brain and your endocannabinoid system with a lot of THC, which actually can make you super sick.
Which actually counts for, I've heard of people getting sick
Yeah.
from too much cannabis.
Well, too much THC. I mean, it literally is a syndrome where THC can stimulate vomiting, and
Right.
you just, every time you smoke it, you will vomit, even in the showers, everything, high THC will just make you do that. So I'd like to kind of backtrack a little bit. If we go back to your days as a young lady, the smoke that you were smoking was not 30%.
No,
It was not
okay.
25%. It was CBD rich, to be completely honest.
Are you serious?
It was CBD rich.
First of all, you weren't around when I first was introduced to cannabis, but it was a brick
It was a brick.
that had weeds. It had seeds and twigs and weird things in it. Solid brick.
I mean, Cheech and Chong were smoking 15% and less.
But you didn't know what was in it. You smoked whatever they brought you.
Totally.
You did not. So when I first went into a medical marijuana clinic up north, and I'm seeing these signs about sativa, indica, hybrid, I got very upset. It's like, wait,
What do you mean?
what do you mean? And now I have to learn something
Right.
to smoke cannabis.
Right. But then you also have, the older heads as yourself who come into the dispensaries and are very ornery about it. And they're like,
Not
back in
ornery.
my day, I was smoking weed that was real strong. I need the 36%.
Okay.
And it's like, it was not 36% back then.
It was CBD
It was
rich
CBD rich.
and 15%.
And less.
Okay.
So,
but it was new to our systems.
of course,
we were starved
absolutely.
for the cannabinoids.
Absolutely. And it was like, you know, it was weed. And so
Sweet.
it's really created this really interesting dynamic. And, you know, a little pro tip, you know, in California, they literally test like a couple grams off a pound for THC percentage, and each nug on a harvest for the same monocrop, like say you're growing Blue Dream, the nug from each plant of Blue Dream that you are growing, they all test different. So when you open up your jar and it says 36 and you're looking at all the different nugs, they all test different, and they might not even be from the batch that they actually took that weed and tested it from. It could be from, you know,
wow.
Yeah.
So. I am learning a lot. Guys, do you like this? This is really so interesting to me. So let's get down to more even practical.
Sure, of course. Okay.
So because so many people that I've interviewed and talked to, many of them have had weird reactions with cannabis. They're used to using it recreational, and now we're proposing. So I want to get down to several categories.
Sure.
So say you're using cannabis for stress and anxiety. I know that if you're using either too high in the THC, then you're going to have a breakdown and a meltdown. Like, so how does this relate to knowing what to take and this thing of terpenes?
Right. So once again, going back to your nose. So when you smell cannabis that smells like lemons or it smells like oranges, typically that's going to be an anxiety-inducing strain.
Oh, it'll make you anxious?
It'll make you anxious. It really encourages energy. It really encourages movement. It really encourages fast-pacedness when they smell like that. If it smells like gas, more like, I don't want to say gas in the sense of like a earthy gas, because there are two different gases you can smoke. There's like the earthy gas that would be like more of an indica, and then there's more of like a real diesel-y, stinky gas, and that would be like more of like a sour diesel. So the sour diesel is going to be super awesomine rich, right? So that like really stinky diesel-y nose.
And what kind of effect does that have? So
awesomine is immediately going to give you so much energy. Like, I like to smoke awesomine rich strains, whether it's concentrate or flower, before I go to the gym.
Can you spell that for us?
Sure.
So maybe Tina can put it in the comments.
Yeah, totally. It's OCIMENE. I'm pretty sure. Awesome.
Spell it one more time so she can get it.
Here, let me type it.
Okay.
I think I got to type it before I say it. Awesomine.
Okay, and this is a terpene also, right?
There you go. Thank you, guys.
This is a terpene.
I think I added another N in there, but
use your imagination then.
Awesomine, and then limonene, that's the other one. Those are going to be really up, right? Like really, really up, really anxiety producing. You're going to want to turn to those, like if you need to stay up late or you're about to do art. Like, remember, I used to always tell you, like, you really want to take the limonene strains, you know.
I thought limonene was for when you go out and you're social.
You could do that too. You can get social with it for sure. A night out would be great with some limonene. But if you're looking for pain relief and you're looking for something that's anti-anxiety, you're going to want to go sometimes for like cannabis that smells like bread. Or that's going to be terpenoline, or you want to go for something that's going to be more like earthy and musty, which is going to be myrcene. And those are found more in like indica dominant strains. And those ones will help with pain, as well as they will help with, kind of impacting THC percentage up a little bit more. The stuff I'm smoking now has my ass glued to the chair. Well, you're probably smoking something with myrcene in it. You are not going anywhere, my friend.
Except enjoying the show today.
Yeah. And so terpenes, there's a lot of content out there for you guys to be able to dig into beyond just rewatching this. I really love Green Flower Media. They have a lot of really great talks and lectures about the endocannabinoid system, about terpenes. And then also, at least in the cannabis market in California, there are some brands that are starting to sell their flower based off their terpene profiles. So another little pro insider is that in the state of California, the Bureau of Cannabis Control requires all growers used to test their flower for their terpene percentages. So every single cultivator in California knows what their terpene percentages are for their cannabis plant. We're just not given them as consumers.
Do they put it on the bottles?
Sometimes.
Because I don't see it.
There are some, like, for instance, I believe Claiborne has always been one that lists the terpenes that are on there. I think that there are some edibles that are starting to, like, infuse with terpenes, you know. A lot of people in the market think, like, terpenes are going to be, like, the next big thing. And I'm really eager for that. I really want the BCC to start educating more about terpenes and less about this focus on THC percentage. If they're going to regulate us, if they're going to be a bureau of control, it would be great for them to be able to actually educate us, you know, with what they're charging us to do, you know. So
that's asking a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, they can't even come to agreement about giving us banking, you know, giving the industry banking.
Yeah, truly.
Okay.
We have a lot of work to do.
We still have a lot of work to do. They don't do all this to alcohol, and
Totally.
certainly not. They should be doing this to tobacco. Can you imagine if they had to regulate
the terpenes of the tobacco
every
plant?
Tobacco plant? Do they have
Jesus.
terpenes?
Yeah, tobacco has terpenes in it. I don't know what, but and
every
my
has terpenes.
favorite terpene is going to be beta-caryophyllene. It's really great for being motivated and focused, but it also helps with pain. So I'm a big fan of that. If I could get a strain that has like myrcene, beta-caryophyllene, and osamine in it, because I do need like the little energy boost.
Okay, so that's so interesting. Like to have these three things you're looking for in a strain. So I always tell everyone, like, know what you want to do with your cannabis. So and that's important. So again, if you want to relax and you're taking that upper limonene, you're not going to lay down. Confused.
You're going to be watching TV like paranoid.
Okay, so what kind of strain has those three things that you like in it? The osamine, the limonene, and
usually like cake strains.
Oh, cake
strains, like wedding cake or lemon pound cake, or like, you know, I don't know. I've seen like a punch cake before, which really like hit me. Any cannabis that I start smelling and I'm like, oh my God, I can smell the winter forest. Oh my God, I can smell the gas. Oh my God, I can smell the coffee and diesel a little bit in there. I'm like, okay, that's the one. So I really follow my nose.
Okay, so the cakes,
I don't care if it's 12%. I'll buy it.
I want her nose. Actually, guys, to me, I have a hard time differentiating in the smelling of cannabis. Although I think it's nice they want me to smell it.
Sure.
It's like, okay, I'll smell it for you, but I don't.
COVID changed that too, though.
I don't know what I'm smelling so much. So I didn't even understand this about cake. I thought cake, when I see it, I think indica.
Sometimes.
In the couch.
There are some that are hybrid.
Got it.
Yeah, and I don't need a full sativa. I just need something that has a little bit of motivating to it.
So if you want to be motivated and up and work, say, and this is, I always thought that you would stay away from anything like indica or slowing down because, but then again, you're saying if you're terpene based,
you don't have to worry about if it's indica, sativa, or hybrid. The genotypes don't really matter at that point because terpenes exist across the spectrum of the type of plant it is. If it's indica, sativa, or hybrid, like you can have an osamine rich indica, you know, you can have a limonene rich indica as well, you know. So I mean, they are out there. Interesting.
Well, I like, actually, I'm blown away. The more I learn about cannabis, the less I know.
And there's like a company called True Terpenes that actually sells terpenes that are just in the liquid form. So you can actually like smell it and like familiarize yourself with these different terpenes and what they smell like without the flower attached to it. So that's how I really became very clear on what I was smelling, was because I was at like a conference and they had those True Terpenes there.
So if I wanted something, again, creative, uplifting,
osamine
and limonene.
You're trying to relax, linalool, myrcene, beta-caryophyllene.
What about if you want, okay, let's get into,
I like pinene too. Pinene is super creative also.
Is there one that has them all? So the bottom line is you can actually smoke something that has less THC and still get amazing benefits
Yep.
from it.
And then also, I think it's important to note for the folks out there that like use concentrated vape pens. If you're getting something that's
What do you think of
distillate,
this?
well, I mean, I sell it and I love it. I have no problem with all the various methods. But if you're buying something that says distillate on it, it's something that is more focused on the THC percentage and not so much the terpenes. Whereas if you're buying like a live resin cartridge or a live rosin cartridge or a sauce cartridge, those actually are not distillate. So it's not just focused on the THC. They have the terpenes in there.
Okay, so that's what we're looking for is the resin.
The rosin, the resin, the sauce, live. Always you want to do live. I'm not really that big of a fan of the cured resin cartridges. I don't think they have the same effect, but
I don't know, because whenever I go into cartridges, I end up losing them all.
Yeah, that's a thing. But some people aren't that way,
And I end up losing them all. And then
Yeah.
I think, well, maybe I'm not supposed to have them.
No,
Okay. All right. Smell, taste, and THC level. And
That's
getting
right.
that the THC level should be at it's the least important.
yeah. The
Okay.
smell is going to be the highest of importance, and how it hits your body when you smell it.
I think you should be
'Cause-
teaching classes in the smell, hun.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So now just tell us about how your brand, the company that you work for now, and all the different kinds of things you're seeing in cannabis.
Sure. So, as you said in my intro, I came into the Coachella Valley's Prop 215 market, or I'm sorry, Prop 64 market in 2018, right as it came on.
Which is recreational.
I started in June. It was regulated and enforced July 1st. So,
Wow.
was,
That's
like,
when you
right
started
there.
Henry's.
yeah. And so I came in with an organic flower company that was one brand, had like maybe 12 items on their menu at any time. And now, here we are like 3 years later, and I work for the largest distribution company in California and worldwide, because California, I just learned, has the largest cannabis industry in the world.
And I didn't know that.
I wasn't aware either, but I guess 800 shops in California.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot.
800
And so
dispensaries.
it's a lot. And so now I am an account manager for a distribution company. My focus is on sales, driving sales, sell through, and communication between the retailer and my brands that I carry. I carry multiple brands across the top 5 SKUs of all categories of cannabis in the marketplace, from edibles to cartridges to concentrates, flower, indoor, outdoor. I carry all of them. My top brands that I carry are going to be Raw Garden, Pacific Stone, Select, Seven Leaves, Glasshouse Farms, Emerald Sky, Big Pete's Treats. Gosh, I feel bad if I'm missing anyone. Henry's Original just came on the platform, and then also like 20 others. It's a lot of brands that I carry. We're huge. We've scaled immensely. The company has scaled immensely since it started in 2018, and we are beginning to branch out to be multi-state operators. And we are gearing up for whenever national happens to be the national distributor.
That's big.
It's huge.
That's big.
It's huge. And so when I started with the company, I was managing 97 accounts, and then now my territory has been trimmed down, and I now just manage the Coachella Valley area, and I manage about 57 accounts now. Still a huge number.
All here in
the Coachella Valley.
That's 57 dispensaries.
Yep, in Coachella Valley, Needles, and Blythe is where I serve my territory. The company's huge. I love it. I love the fast pacedness of it, as well as I love being able to have my ear into the mouths, I guess, of my brands, because I get to hear what all of their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what they are looking to do, what they're looking to create. And really, from what I've gathered from this experience of being in the above ground market over the last 3 years, is that it's extremely volatile. It's extremely taxed. It's extremely uneducated as to what the plant actually is. We're getting there, though. I'm really proud of the work we've done in 3 years. And there's a lot of room to grow. and I also think that like we're all just going to wake up one day in the near future and like national legalization is going to just happen because, or we're all going to jail, like one way or the other.
Well, it is kind of interesting. Biden took office and then he fired all of his staff members who had been using marijuana.
Yeah. So,
And,
I mean, we'll see. The banks are still very difficult to deal with. I've had paychecks bounce before, and it's hard to find people who want to give you a loan for a house, but I really believe in cannabis. And that's why I sit here, because of the background that I have, because of the changes I've seen. I don't think this is a commodity. I think this really is a consciousness shift that we're going through on the planet. And cannabis is really helping to open a lot of people's minds to other ways of healing. It's really paving the way for other plant medicines to come onto the forefront. Combo medicine and psilocybin medicine and other plant journeys like Aya have gotten very, very mainstream and popular since cannabis has kind of popped off as well. And I really think that all these things work together to shift consciousness. I mean, like I was like clicking through Gaia the other day and they had like this 5-minute news report about like, why is tarot like taking off these days, and it's the same thing with cannabis, in my opinion.
Right.
Like
consciousness,
everyone, like the consciousness is shifting. So I'm in it for the long play. I'm in it because I love talking about cannabis. I love educating about cannabis, and I love being a part of this. And ultimately, I would love to be a policymaker and a change maker in this game. And I think that the only way to do that is by having experience. So by the time I decide to make a political move and a actual move into the bureaucratic world of policy and legislation, I will have had 8 years of above ground cannabis experience. So I have a long-term plan here.
I love this. I was going to ask you your long-term plan. I noticed we had a question. Someone wants to know if you're hiring in your company, if they are hiring.
You can always look at herbalsolutions.com/careers.
There you have it, herbalsolutions.com. And a career in cannabis, by the way, is a growing industry.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have to worry about losing your job.
Totally.
The industry's over.
And on top of it, like there's so many positions. There's warehouse positions, there's drivers, there's retail, there's sales, there's IT, there is room for everyone of every skill set in the cannabis field.
So, we're talking about legalization here. I'm in New York and they just legalized it. And I heard you can smoke in the streets of New York City.
Congratulations.
Okay, which
can't wait to do it.
Well, I'm from New York and you would never have smoked on the streets of Manhattan, nor would you smoke in this. Well, people smoke everywhere nowadays, but.
Oh, before we go on though, Tina, it's actually HERBL without the A. It's HERBL Solutions.
Got it. She'll fix it.
I'm pretty sure that's the website. Or just Google
HERBLsolutions.com/careers. Wonderful. Okay, what were you about to say?
I apologize. Oh, well, I mean, for New York, she said, how long do you think it will take to get recreationally from a dispensary physically or through mail? I really don't know.
Oh, my God. How long you think it'll take till you get the weed? We just don't know. Listen. California has been ahead of the game here and really ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How do you see cannabis unfolding now in our great state here of California?
Well, it's not going to slow down. That's for sure.
Not.
It's not slowing down. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of California companies that are now starting to do direct to consumer. So that's interesting.
Are you allowed as a brand?
Kiva's doing it.
Can you mail it?
And Kiva's doing it. So I don't know if they have their own delivery drivers or if I'm really not sure the legalities behind it because I'm not a pioneer of that world. But that's something that's happening right now.
Okay.
So I mean, if that happens.
If that happens, that they can send it around the country wherever?
Well, no, to California.
Okay.
Yeah,
California.
to just the markets that they're in right now, for sure. So that's what Kiva's doing right now. They sell like the espresso beans and the blueberries and the gummies and stuff. And so they are selling direct to consumer, which to me, I'm like, whoa, what happens to the dispensaries then if you're sending direct to consumer, But I mean, I don't know. We're just about to hit 3 years on July 1st. So I really don't know what the future looks like for us. But I'm in it for national distribution and I'm in it for international distribution. I want to sell to London.
Oh, I'm
I
going to
wanna
go with you to London.
I want to
Wait.
sell Cali weed to London. That's what I want to do.
So you would want to represent your brands and be the rep over international distributor.
That'd be so fun.
So guys, this is huge. Like what she's projecting as to her career goals would mean, international distribution of cannabis.
It's already happening in Israel and Spain. Mexico just came online as well. Uruguay came online. There are international players. They don't got that cauliflower.
They don't know. Now, when I was younger, growing up, we wanted Mexican weed, but it's not like California weed. California marijuana is some of the best.
Hey, Kelly.
Right? Everyone is really loving. Guys, do you like Michelle? Are you loving? Do you have any questions for her? Any last minute questions for her? We want to answer them. So I want to mention this. The thing about Mexico legalizing cannabis, okay? Because Mexico had illegal cannabis all these years, the drug cartels have been able to literally run Mexico. And I know 10 years ago, Mexico was talking about decriminalizing marijuana, and the United States kind of freaked out about it because of our fake drug war, which has been going on for centuries. I think, but the fact is that cannabis came to Mexico in the 1400s. I mean, it was in every part of their culture. And I was looking this up today. The Mexican revolutionary song La Cucaracha was all about their soldiers smoking cannabis as they went to war.
The roaches.
Cucarachas.
Oh, roach.
Yeah, but okay. They were talking about
roaches. La cucaracha.
Oh, okay. So now I've really embarrassed myself and learned a lot. But here's what it says. It caught on with both peasants and the higher classes in Mexico. And the iconic anthem of the Mexican Revolution is La Cucaracha. And I didn't think about it as being a roach. I thought it was a cockroach.
Yeah.
But they were still talking about roaches because the whole song apparently is about the peasant army getting high as they went through the desert.
So funny.
But the whole point of that is that cannabis was very much a part of their culture. And the culture worldwide, even part of our culture, you're looking at me, like our body, mind, and soul was infused with using this consciousness health enhancing plant.
Yeah, truly. It's been here alongside our evolution.
It has, but it seems to me like for a long time, you mentioned that more people are into tarot and oracle cards. In fact, I think they're growing as you can make money on tarot cards too, like you can on cannabis.
I do.
So. No, I guess I do too. But the truth is that it's indicative of people wanting to know more. So what I love about cannabis and the reason I have started this show is that I feel that when you take the time, you can use it for advanced meditation. You can use it for advanced consciousness enhancing.
Yeah.
You can use it to...
That's what I did in San Francisco. That macro dose.
Yeah. So you're not going to get the enhanced consciousness on the microdose, are you?
Or it might take you many years of microdosing to... I don't know, though. Maybe you could sit down and meditate as someone new to cannabis with microdoses and feel the expansion and the openness, but I just had a different experience.
Well, I find it really fascinating because you would come over and sometimes say, well, Joan, you like this. This is a myrcene. You like the myrcene. Or I still had no idea what she was really talking about. And it wasn't until you did your presentation online at the online cannabis event. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, and you did a fantastic job. And I'm going to post the link on this so you could see Michelle's amazing presentation on how to use terpenes and how to self-care, because this is the difference between a pharmaceutical prescription where your doctor says 2 a day for the rest of your life with all those side effects.
Healing.
Yeah, when you can take this, but you have to learn what your body. I think that's the whole point of self-care. You actually have to talk to your body.
Oh, my favorite tool is the Relief app. So it's RELIEF LEAF. And it is in the App Store, and you can actually track your cannabis usage, whether you smoke from a bong, a pipe, a joint. You can track your puffs, and by doing so, you can understand like how it affects you. Because honestly, that app, you log in who you bought it from, where you bought it from, what it was, like what grower it was, what brand, and you can get to know yourself and your smoking habits a little bit better. So
that's kind of like how, so my sister used to tell me to get a journal.
Yeah, the gold leaf journals too.
So so in other words, the way to self-care is to record.
Yep, record and reflect. Take baths with cannabis bath bombs and a joint and cannabis drinks at the same time.
You heard it from Michelle.
I'm a luxurious Taurus. I can't help it. And then also like ask questions. And if you can't find the answers, Google it. Like figure it out. Go to Greenleaf or Green Flower Media. Listen, like immerse yourself, because like it's not like I just smoked a joint and suddenly all this knowledge just like infused into my body. Like it's been a lot of reading and a lot of absorbing and a lot of education to get me to the space where I can even touch upon the small surface of the iceberg. There's a lot more to this.
Every time I think I learn something, I realize I know almost nothing. And you had so many truths in this that I'm going to go back and listen to it.
Oh, thank you. I love
No,
you.
you didn't. I think people really learned a lot from you. And I'm so appreciative that you dropped in. And, here's another way to take cannabis, okay?
30
Blood
calories.
Orange, yes, and it's only 30 calories, but it has 2 milligrams of THC and 4 milligrams of CBD rather. And most likely to confuse. That's what it says here.
Least likely to forget.
Least likely to forget. I'm not even sure. I find that confusing.
I'm a big fan of these.
All right. So there's many ways you can take cannabis. Here's our dear friend Samuel. Good information. And Samuel's also, kind of asking what the cannabis industry. But we can discuss that next time. Is there anything else you want everyone to know about you? The industry.
Gosh, I don't know. I'll be smoking weed until the day I'm died.
Okay, guys, this is my dear friend Michelle Rizzio. Okay, she is a child of the cannabis plant. She learned how. I think you started that you used it first medically and discovered that it helped your pain. And that you were able to get through college and actually graduate. So you figured out how to use this. And then I love your family.
Yeah, thank you.
And just to know that your dad has never had to go back to that morphine drip.
It's exciting.
So guys, you probably, if you think about it, between your parents, between other people in the community, I see Michelle rocks. I want you to actually start to think about family members that could, especially your seniors, that could use cannabis, because it's criminal for them to be taking over-the-counter drugs. Okay, those hurt your system. They shorten your lifespan. If her father was addicted to opiates, she didn't have a full-fledged father growing up. He was in a wheelchair. If cannabis had been available 20 years before, you would have had your dad.
Absolutely.
You would have had your dad your whole life. So there's a new trend coming and an awareness that, heck, we can be in charge of our own consciousness, our own health.
And if your doctor says otherwise, fire him and hire another one.
You heard that from Michelle. Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, sweetheart. I'm going to close out the show, but I'm just so happy that she was here. She's going to go the other corner. I'm going to drink her drink for her. No,
it's gone.
Guys, I love doing this show, and your feedback really helps. Your support really, really does help in knowing what you're interested in and what you're looking for. Next week's show is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be Joan interviewing Joan. Okay, you can ask me all the questions you want. We're going to be talking about the spirituality of cannabis. I'm going to be doing readings for some of you online. I'm going to show you how you can step into expanding your awareness with using cannabis, how you can use this opening of consciousness to understand more of who you are, why you're here, your purpose and your mission, which is what I do this lifetime. My work is all about teaching people how to step into the miraculous and how to expand your own personal gifts, step into your mastery, and know who you are. And that is very, very beautiful. We did not talk today about cannabis and cancer treatment, but certainly appreciate your feedback, Kelly, and we will be talking about that over the next few months too. So guys, you can find me at joanofangels.com. You can find me on our YouTube channel. And again, I'm growing the YouTube channel. In the last month, I've increased by over 100 subscribers, thanks to all of you and your love. And they say the first 1,000 is a forever process. I would like to have it happen overnight. Thank you very much. We want to reach more people with our message of raising your consciousness, which is what plant medicine of all kinds is geared to. Heal your body and heal your soul. So I've really loved having my friends on the show the last few weeks. I can't wait to hear some of your feedback. Feel free to write to me or comment. And I adore all of you. All right, I'm going to take a deep breath in for myself. Ask Spirit if there's anything else I want to tell you. You rock, all of you, that you're joining me on this dive into spiritual living. I'm filled with gratitude. And that you're all becoming friends now. And here's a dear friend of mine. I haven't seen her in a long time. And just good to see you all. So have a blessed and beautiful week. We will see you all next week. Thank you so much. Don't forget to share it out, like and subscribe, and have the most blessed week ever. That's it for this week, guys. Have an amazing July 4th and an amazing independence of your body, mind, and spirit as you step out. Love you all.